All right, let's look at chapter 9. It's talking about the Earth's ocean. Okay. All right, let's move to the main idea here. Now, you should know that water covers the Earth. Okay. The Earth, 71% of the Earth is water. Okay. And 97% of that water is in form of the ocean. Okay, so if you look inside the ocean has both the mountain underneath, the plains, the canyon, and the volcanoes as well. Yeah, so if you study the ocean, you call that oceanography. But if you are the person who study it, if you're the scientist who study it, we call that oceanographer. Okay, all right, let's see the ocean. So you have five main ocean of the earth. The first one is the Pacific Ocean. This is the largest ocean and hold half of all of the ocean of the world. Yeah. Then followed by the Atlantic Ocean. This is between America, Europe, and Africa. Then you have the Indian Ocean, where mainly this is on the southern hemisphere of the earth. Okay. And Southern Ocean, which surrounds the Antarctica. And the last one is the Arctic Ocean. This is the smallest, and usually it's frozen most of the year. Yeah. So you can see here all the ocean. See the Pacific Ocean until here to here. You can see that. Yeah. And then you have the Atlantic Ocean here. Yeah. And you have the Indian Ocean, and you have the Arctic Ocean and the Antarctic here, which is usually frozen. Yeah. All right. Now, there are actually no real boundaries between ocean. So water can move freely. Animals can also travel easily. Okay. And pollution can also spread easily as well. Okay. So we talk about pollution. I believe you have in your study guide the pollution here. The type of pollution. Now, humans causing the pollution or affecting the marine ecosystem by plastic pollution, throwing plastic into the ocean, oil spills, okay, or even overfishing. You fish too much and the population of fish reduces, damaging coral reef, okay, destroying the habitats of many species, chemical and toxin into the ocean, throw that in, that harms the plant and the animal life. Okay, human also causes the climate change and the increase in temperature of the ocean. Yeah. All right, let's come back here. All right, now we are talking about the ocean floor. Okay, the most important part would be if you zoom in here, you see earth is composed of crust, the outer layer, right? And followed by the inside layer, the mantle, and the innermost, which is the core. The core is made of lava and magma, and the mantle is usually the molten metal, and the crust is the rock and the soil part. Yeah, and you can see that the ocean also lies on the crust, and some ocean can be as deep down until reaching the part of the core. Yeah, so you can see something like that as well. So this portion here, you can call it the trench. This side here, the trench, you will see the term. Yeah, moving on. There, this is the ocean trench. Okay, before we go into echolocation, let me explain the layer of the ocean. So this is ocean according to the depth. The first layer of the ocean, we called it the sunlight zone. This is where you can still have photosynthesis. Yeah, the shallow part is here. This is the sunlight zone, followed by the next zone as the twilight zone. The twilight zone is where you have little light and you have animal that glows, or we called it bioluminescence. Yeah, this is the twilight zone. So you have little light, but still there is light. Okay, and the dark part is called the midnight zone. This is dark and it's cold. There, this is the midnight zone. And you have this, the abyssal zone. This is actually very cold. Yeah, and you don't have any light here, this one. And then the ocean trench, this is quite deep, the deepest part if you go down, as I showed you the diagram here on top. This is where it's nearly connecting the mantle and the core part here. Yeah. All right, moving on. Let me see. Okay, let's talk about echolocation. So you can see that there are animals like dolphin, that dolphin have eyes but they cannot see. So how do they swim and how do they know when to catch fish or when to avoid the rocks? They use the concept here of echolocation. Echolocation means that it sends out the sound wave, and the sound wave hits the target and reflect back, and the image is formed in its brain. So it knows that there is something here, right? So it sees that thing as a wave and the brain creates the image. It might not be able to see the color like us, but it can predict, it can see that there is definitely something moving, a shape that it sees inside. Okay, this same logic we use in technology called sonar. Sonar, you can see your car, right? When your dad or mom change the gear to back, you hear the sound beep, 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 beep. That's the same thing. So when you move very close, it says beep, 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 something like that. Yeah. So we use that also in ships. So you may have your ship here. It sends the wave down, right, and reflect back up. The wave here is then converted and it knows how deep this is, right? So maybe this could be about 10 kilometer. Yeah, so the ship knows that this ocean is 10 kilometer deep, this part here. Yeah. All right, moving on. So as you can see here, the word continent, you know what that is, right? And the shelf here is the flat part here. And this is the slope part where it suddenly becomes slopey. Yeah. Okay. The mapping I will not talk. I will talk this one here. So if you look underground, there is volcanic island formed by the ocean. The volcanic island here, a good example would be Hawaii Island. So Hawaii was formed few hundred years ago, okay, by the volcanic eruption, okay, underneath the ocean. Now you can have the extinct volcano as well. Extinct meaning that you can still have some volcanic activity, but very little. You can have lava or magma inside, but it's nothing that it's going to explode. Yeah. All right. Then you have the ocean trench. This is the deepest part of the ocean. Yeah. So this is where you see the tectonic plate pushing each other. Yeah. Okay. Moving on.